Transformer fans, once again it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to all of your support, especially those of you that are Optibotimus Plus channel members, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Leader Class Scourge as he appears in the upcoming Transformers Rise of the Beast film. And this is one that I am super excited about. There is something incredibly awesome, powerful, menacing, and downright scary about this character. And we've only gotten a very brief look at this guy, but the toy itself absolutely looks outstanding. For the package, as you can see, it is that plastic-free packaging, which means there's no open window or anything. You just have a very large image of him, but there's something very interesting, and people have started kind of my box got squished a little bit. I don't care about it, but there's definitely something familiar about this guy, and I'll talk about that when I get to the toy. I don't know if the toy actually kind of shows it, or if it's just here on the packaging, but you have the Transformers text, the Generation logo, like I said, gorgeous image right there. Got the Transformers Rise of the Beasts logo right there in the front, 101. You come around to the side, and you have an up-close image of him. And one thing that's worth noticing is that this whole head this looks like it's a mask, kind of. Even when you look at the pulled-back image, it looks like it's a mask that's over him. There's something very familiar about this portion of it. And I'm going to put an image right here. Now, you know that that's Optimus Prime. This little whole section here looks very much like what Optimus has. These little ridges across the middle looks very similar to that. Even when you look at these little edges on the side here, that matches with that one as well. So is Scourge some kind of a warped, twisted version of Optimus Prime? Who knows? There's also definitely elements about this guy that looks, I mean, look at that. That is super cool. That very much look like Megatron, especially in terms of the truck here. Looks a lot like that Dark of the Moon truck that he had. Well, I mean, or worse looking, but then the hands also look very similar. I mean, it does say right here that Scourge and the Terracons face off against the Autobots in a battle for the Transwarp Key. One of the elements about Beast Wars, and obviously we're getting the Beast Wars characters in this, is that there was a little bit of time travel. So could they be kind of using a Transwarp Key to introduce some of that? Who knows? It's all speculation at this point. But there's something, like I said, that you can see with that top portion of the head that is eerily familiar. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And here we have Scourge opened up out of his packaging and in his absolutely gorgeous and monstrous looking truck mode. When I say monstrous, I don't necessarily mean the size of him. I just mean that this is very aggressive and dystopian looking. All the way around, there is a menacing look to this entire truck, and I'm all on board. I love the way that it turned out. You can see it has a very dark ash kind of color to it, which gives a very cool, menacing look. There's a lot of chain detail around here, which, surprisingly enough, they painted a lot of it. When you look here, zoom it in so we can see that, you can see like a lot of the detail around here on the inside and stuff has been nicely picked out in this beautiful color. But even when you look at some other little bits around here, like for example, here in the front, you have a slightly different color to the chains that are there. You got some chain detail there. You got different lights and everything. You have, I don't know how I feel about like the little scratch marks that are on there. That doesn't really look all that, but I love, look at that grill. And one thing that's amazing about it are the different logos that are on here. You have like the Terracon logo, you have an Autobot logo, Decepticon logo. What this whole thing here looks like a giant Decepticon logo. I mean, that is amazing how they got that detail in there. But all the way around, looks really very good. You have some of that dirt element here on the side with the doors and everything. You come around to the back section here, and again, some nice added paint detail for those chain effects. Really very impressive how they were able to put all that extra paint application in this. It is a leader class figure, so while it might necessarily not fit in terms of the size and everything of a leader class figure, they really did put a lot of the budget into the paint applications on here, which I think is really very nice. And a very aggressive, angry looking truck. I love how they have these translucent windows on here, which give a very fiery sort of look when you get like a light going through there. You do have this back section. Now this is going to be kind of his cannon weapon. One thing is that this is fairly accurate. I mean, people will be like, oh, that looks pretty ugly. A lot of these trucks look ugly. But this is actually accurate. Now, you can remove it if you don't want to, but it looks even more ugly when you have it on there. And this is going to become his, like I said, cannon weapon. You can store it on there, but one thing that also I kind of like is that you can rotate this around. And you can make it, you can put these little pegs here in the bottom. You can do it any number of ways if you really wanted to. You just take this little bit, and then we're going to slot this right there. And I honestly think that this looks a little bit better. I got to make sure I get that post in there lined up right. But I feel like that looks a little bit better. Not as kind of, I mean, it looks more like a box, if I can get it tabbed in there right. It looks more boxish than, well, you could see the point. So you can actually put it in a couple different ways. You could do it like that, where it does kind of just look like that box, or you can rotate these around and you can do the same thing. So personal preference, but this you're going to rotate around, and oh, this all constantly flips. Oh wait, hold on. All this rotation, here we go. And then you connect this, and this is going to become his cannon weapon. If you know, are into things like that. But again, Optimus had a cannon weapon. I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating here, guys. I just think it would be cool if somehow, some way, Scourge was an evil version of Optimus. You know, like Nemesis Prime, right? And then when you bring in Optimus Prime, you can see that there is a similarity. I mean, he's kind of like a long nose sort of thing. But even when you look at some of the transformation aspects, right? Like this part right here kind of comes around. This part kind of folds down. This little bit right up here is part of his arms. This bit here is part of his... I don't know. I mean, I might be reaching, honestly, but I think it's pretty darn cool. And again, like I said, if they do some time traveling, who knows? But you can see that... now, this is a Voyager size figure, so you can see that this guy is definitely a little bit smaller than this. But realistically, it's not that big of a difference. I mean, not bad by comparison. This guy is definitely beefier looking, but still really cool nonetheless. Now, transformation on him is actually pretty simple and fairly straightforward to do. What we're going to want to do is going to detach this, lift this up. These bits here can rotate towards the front. So do that again here. Lift this up. Just like that, kind of get that out of the way like so. Come around here, we're going to detach this, kind of pull that away. And then this whole section here tabs in here along the side. So this does get a little bit tricky getting this to kind of line up, but just kind of separate that a little. Just like that. I'm sorry, you need to separate the tire here. So pull the tire out. Now, one thing that's neat is this is asymmetrical. So this part right here is actually attached to this tire. So you want to pull this away. And this is all going to, no, there's his head. You're going to rotate this around, and then this comes around, and then you want to rotate this so that that's going to be part of his chest area. So, gonna get that in there. Kind of just set that there for right now. These little bits here, though, are going to separate, and then this will come out from here. Get that kind of all the other way. Bring this around just like that. Get that. Oh, sorry. Come around here to this back section. You want to detach this, and then this middle bit right here, you want to detach that because that's actually attached to his arm. So pull that out, and this is going to rotate around like that. This is all going to come around like that. kind of situate all that stuff like that. So now we're going to take these little bits right here. This whole section here comes up. There's a little tab that'll lock into place right there. Then fold this piece down, and then these little side bits fold back and cover in those little side areas like that. Arms are going to swivel down like that, angle that up. Do that as well. And here, bring this whole extra section down. Bring that up. Bring that up. There we go. Then we want to take this, hinge this all the way back, just like that. Bring that up and around. These don't really lock. Well, they do kind of lock in right there. Just kind of give that a good little push. Locks those bits in. Kind of just get that out of the way. Come around here to these legs. If you didn't separate these, separate them up here. They kind of tab in up there as well. You want to rotate at the thigh, just like that. Bring this foot section down, and then this will rotate around like that. Then you want to detach this from there. It clicks into place. You want to have it detached for the robot mode, and then kind of angle these legs straight. So we can bring that up, bring that out. Do that. You can kind of bend the knees a little bit. This part right here, you want to take this, and this all hinges just like that. Bring this in, bring this in, this piece here, completely pull this out. There we go. This will fold down and in like that. And then bring this, accordion this up, and then come around to the back, and you have another little slot right here that's going to lock in there. Bring that, what's going on? There we go. And then give this a good solid push to lock that into place. You'll hear it snap into place. Kind of straighten those. Again, kind of play with these arms to kind of get it looking the way that it's supposed to. You can open these little claw bits a little bit like that, and when you're done, oh, take this, I forgot, you have this little post right here that connects to that. Tuck that up. But when you're done, there you have Scourge in his amazing looking robot mode. And this guy is sick. We've gotten some really cool designs for bad guys in the Transformer movies throughout the years, honestly. And I think that this could easily be one of the coolest looking. There's just something insanely wicked about this guy. A lot of those details that you could see in his that truck mode is still very prominent here. But that head sculpt, that is such a amazing head sculpt. I love how that looked. And again, you can kind of see how it looks a little bit like a mask. You don't really get to see a lot of that detail up here, although you can kind of make out some of it like I was showing you on the box. But it's still wicked cool. I mean, I love the translucent light piping that's going there. You got a big piece right there in the back that gets his eyes glowing. That is absolutely wicked. Great detail with the chest again. The same detail that we saw before, but that collapses pretty nicely together. I like how these little pieces kind of fold around here and kind of help taper him out a little bit. But great detail all the way through, like with the arms, you can see some chain detail like I was talking about. You got those little scratches on there. Now, one thing that's interesting about this guy is the way that they designed his weapon here. Now, he can hold it just like this. You can bring this around, you know, however you really want to, and then that hinges and everything. So you can have that kind of slung under his arm like that, like it's attached to him, which that's cool, and then it frees up his hand. But you can't really use the hand too terribly much because the blade's going to be right there. You know, if you rotate that around, that's kind of cool too. You have options with it. I mean, you can kind of fold that back a little bit more, but realistically, that doesn't help a ton. But I still think it's really cool looking. You can see a lot of nice dents and dings in the entire thing as well. You can see his other eye out. Now, I really like the asymmetric nature of this. It is very much like Megatron, which is very cool. But you can see that this arm here is this kind of opening claw sort of thing. It's rubbery. I don't know if there's a wire in there. I don't think that there is, but it kind of feels like maybe there is a bit of a wire inside there. But you have a hinge joint right here that allows you to kind of pinch this and close this and open it up. And I think we saw in the trailer that this looks like some type of, maybe like an electromagnetic blast or something that spins around and he blows things up. But it's still cool looking nonetheless. And then the rest of the figure, again, a lot of great detail with the legs. You can see a lot of nice chain detail put in there. You got the tires on the inside, which, again, kind of reminds me of Optimus. Honestly, I mean, his tires were more on the outside, but they were part of his legs. So I know it's probably just wishful thinking, but I really do hope that this guy is some kind of weird, twisted version of Optimus Prime. That would be just super, super awesome, I think. Now, you do have to be careful with the legs. You kind of have to play with those to kind of get them to stand proper. You can see that he wants to kind of fall back a little bit. So always kind of angle that as good as you possibly can. Now, for comparison to Optimus, you can definitely see that there's a big size difference here between the two. And I don't know necessarily how accurate that's going to be. This is obviously the Michael Bay version of Optimus. I don't know if it really is meant to be kind of in the same continuity. But here is the Bumblebee version of Optimus. And you can even see that this version is bigger than him. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where the whole story is going to be going with this guy. But the look on him is outstanding. And I'm really all on board for basically all of it. First, articulation. He actually has two joints here. I feel like this one here is kind of meant to be more lower, and then that's going to be angled up, because when you have that just all the way up, that just looks weird to me. So I like having that kind of angled down, and then having the other joint kind of pushing it up so that it's more him looking forward. So I kind of like doing that. And you can also see like there's like a little hitch sort of thing right there that makes it kind of pull forward. I don't know, but you do have two joints there. The shoulders do rotate. You do have the hinge right here that can move forward and back, but then you have another one right here. But I do feel like this part is meant to stay straight, and then that rotates, because if you take that and put that all the way up, that just looks goofy. So I feel like it's meant to be like that, and then you have the rotation. You have an elbow joint. You have a swivel at the elbow. The wrists don't rotate or anything, but you can see that the hands can open up like I was showing before. Come to this other side, you have that asymmetrical look, so everything is basically the same, but then you come down to the hand, which is static, except for those fingers, which is cool. Lift these up. You have a waist rotation, which is nice. You have hips that move forward, back, in and out. They rotate at the upper part of the thigh. Really interesting ratchet joints there at the knee, so you get a good range of motion with that. The ankles do move forward. They detach, kind of, obviously. And then you have a tilt, which gets a good range of motion with it. I mean, just, this guy's wicked. I mean, super, super cool. Like, the evilness of him is outstanding. And he poses, as you can see, beautifully. And then for his other accessory, like I said, you can create a cannon with this. You can come around here if you want to. And you got a little tab section on his butt that you can take this and you can peg that in there if you want, like I don't know, weapon storage in robot mode for it. Or you come around over here and you got his arm, and all you do with this is you pull that piece out. Just pegs in there on like a little bit of a soft thing, but there is like a little key section, so you want to make sure that you rotate that around properly. Lock that in, and now he's got a cannon arm, which, you know, again, similar. I don't know. I mean, I keep talking about it, and it is entirely just speculation. It really is, and I know that I'm probably reaching and stretching for some cool aspects to kind of connect some dots and everything. I don't know necessarily if this guy is going to turn out the way he is. Ultimately, I think he looks really cool, though. I'm really happy with how he turned out. The detail is extremely well done. One thing I will say, though, as a leader class figure, I do feel like he's a little bit smaller than I would like. I do get where they put a lot of the budget when it comes to him. Like, a lot of it is in the paint details. Transformation, as you can see, isn't really overly complex. There's a lot of really nice molded detail in him, but he still feels a little bit lacking for that price point. Do I still recommend the figure? Absolutely. I think he is extremely cool looking, and I'm very excited to see how he actually will be in the film itself, which we're rapidly getting closer to the release of. And I really hope that this isn't a situation where we're super hyped up about a character that barely appears in the movie, a la Shockwave. But figure-wise, he turned out really cool. The vehicle is very aggressive, very Mad Max looking, and you get a lot of amazing detail, especially in the front grille, or aka chest area. Transformation, as I talked about, isn't really anything spectacular. The legs do what you think it needs to do. The arms kind of fold back. I do kind of wish maybe there was a way they could have done a better job with the backpack here, but it's not terribly bad, I guess. I mean, that makes it look kind of bad, but like from the front, you don't even really notice it because it kind of drapes down by where his arms are, so it's not completely ugly. But it would be nice if, you know, they could have figured out something to kind of get all that stuff to hide. But robot mode is where I think this guy really shines. He just has a really cool and evil presence to him that I think is really very cool. So I definitely would recommend adding this guy to your collection. And if you'd like to do that, he is hitting various retail locations right now. So if you are looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can do the real simple thing and go online to places like Big Bad Toy Store or even Entertainment Earth. For both of those places, I'll put links right down there in the video description, where you can swing on over and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. Also, as a special bonus for you, if you decide to go the route of Entertainment Earth and click on that link in the video description, in addition to being able to save a little bit extra money by getting free shipping over certain amounts, you can also knock off 10% off of any in-stock order that you place. That's a special deal that I worked out with the folks over there to help you guys save some money and help to show your support for my channel. And finally, guys, please remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching, and until next time, this is Optibotimus saying adios, au revoir, and auf Wiedersehen.